Authors Press.
Hey everyone, my name is Nicole Richardson and I'm from Authors Press. Today is October 6th, 2022, and I'm gathered here today with J. Peter Hall, the author of A Narrative Tale of Morocco. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, John?
Well, myself, I'm from not originally, but much of my life been in Boston, and my wife is Brazilian. She was there for a year and a half to get better in her use of English. We met, and after 2 winters, that's why we now live in Miami. And then went from her whole family is in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And there we learned of a place for a tourist going from Sao Paulo to Casablanca and other locations to Morocco. And that was because it was a popular joint until 2012. And that's why no one from Europe had the money to go to there in Morocco. So they got, for really cheap, people from Casablanca to go there. So we grabbed that in a flash. And that's how we ended up taking a 10-day trip to Morocco.
And it kind of sounds like you've definitely already touched on it, but could you tell us a little bit about your book as well?
Well, it was an exciting, interesting place to go. And it was only after being there during the first day, I said, oh, I have to take notes. I've done that before for other reasons, but nothing. I always have a small, it's a calendar in my back pocket. And I used to, in the back side of that, start making notes every day. And every day we're doing something different, and I write clear notes. And then when I got home, I write more notes. And it ended up being, by writing 140 pages by paper on 8 by 11. And I made copies of it at FedEx for myself, 50 of them. I sent one of them to a printing company, and that's why it became a book.
And, could you tell us a little bit about what inspired the idea for this?
Well, it was just seeing something that was entirely different, in which I was in Casablanca, and the next place in Morocco, wherein you see both old and new. And I had to take notes from that and see everything about it. That's when I started.
Okay. Could you tell us about the significance of the title?
Well, that's basically what it is, a narrative tale, meaning making notes from my travel. Every day it was something different. And the company that's in charge of that, they obviously have those who were, every bus, there was this exact same people on the bus, and the same, call it the coach, who knows everything. And he was quite a mentor, and the company, they chose very good people to do the job. And every day they go, it's just you're looking left and right, and every which way you have to take notes. And also, by the way, pictures. We all have pictures. I have way over 500 pictures. Yeah, the book itself has 221 pictures. 80 of them are from Google and Wikipedia. Interesting tidbits from history and from the present. that I just didn't have a good shot, whatever the case. But there's a lot of pictures in that book. On the front cover, it's actually, you think it's some kind of commercial, but it happens to be we happen to stop, and there's a picture from the road. It's perfect. And in any event, the back cover is a cool back cover because it shows goats. You can never imagine, but goats, we always think of them when they're really on the rocks, when you have to have the great feet to climb almost on a wall. And yet, here they are, 25 feet up on a tree. Goats having their, and they have them there.
Whatever they can is what they're doing.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry?
I said they're eating whatever they can is what they're doing.
Well, yes, and they wait until the trees are ripe. And whatever it is they like up there, their feet, they break off some other thing that is good for the owner. And so they work together. That's
pretty cool. Could you tell us a little bit about who the main characters are?
Well, the main characters, it's not truly, the only main characters in the book are in the history. Certain, for example, the king from, trying to remember numbers in my, he's in the 16th century, 1600s, and he became king when he was 30, and he was king for 60 years, 91 years old. And the reason he stayed so long is, and when there was, at that same time, there was the people from that, when they owned that people that's now called Turkey, they owned all of the Mediterranean at the time, and they tried 3 times to get Morocco, but he was a strong army from him. He always had a very strong army, and besides that, what he did, he always, whenever he went anywhere, he had 80 guys with him. So you can never kill that guy. They probably want to kill him because he always had a certain number of guys by themselves going around to get the taxes. And in the event, that's the one example of certain people in the history. The most impressive ones I have in my book, it's a side issue, nothing to do with Morocco, but it is about the Mediterranean, by what we call Turkey, what we call Lebanon. It was before Phoenicia. And the name Phoenicia is a name given to them by Greece because of certain things that they sell, of the things from the sea, from the Crete, and that is those from Lebanon. They were impressive for 3,000 years. They owned the Mediterranean, and they were not in the same way as Rome. They're strictly for business, and they're going around, and then they were the inventors of writing by letters. They invented that, and it was when they told that to the Greeks, and the capital of Lebanon is Byblos. And when they told that to the Jewish in 12 BC, that they were so thankful for the ability to write, and because their whole Bible, it's just somewhat teaching of the children to know how to behave and what would be called that reason. And what they could always memorize everything, and since they could then write it, that's why they gave it Byblos, but in English, Bible. That's where the reason is, when they teach them how to write. And since they did for many years, they come from Baghdad originally, and that's where the Arabian, where everyone from there, they write from right to left, and Jewish does, they do both. But when the Greeks, they had it for a short time, then they changed it over because they're all right-handed, and that's how they're the ones that started writing, and that meant Latin, and then all of your European and Russian languages do it from right to left. That was all done by
there are lots of different languages that write from right to left.
Yeah, that's what it was. All your Asian, they're from top to bottom, and right to bottom, or sometimes right to left, or there's several different ways.
Yeah, definitely. Are there any parts of this book that you connect to on a deeper or a more significant level?
Well, I might have written that very thing down, or that many other things. Yes, as we were only in Casablanca for a day and a half, wherein after that we drove straight down, and the next city was Marrakesh, and from there we went. Many things we saw. You can see it in my book, the great number of things within that city. But from there, we went straight around the corner on the sea to this place called Essaouira, which is a very popular place from Europe to go there in the summer. And not necessarily in the summer. And it's what they call the Morocco Woodstock, but they were doing that long before the 1969 when you got more Woodstock, and that's when in the last week of June there was a minimum of 450,000 people there for 4 days. They're all bands of many different tribes. Latin, jazz, things from African things that are just south of Morocco, the two countries just south. It was quite a feast there, and we were not. And also, that year round, it's a perfect place on the water for flying in the air, where you have a kite. And you can fly in the water and jump you far in the air. And there's also the windsurfings. And
it sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
It certainly is, and I really give great respect to the company that have knowledge of, and they know places to go every day, something different. It was extremely well done.
Could you tell us how you want this book to impact your readers?
Well, I thought of it for the times when, especially 3 years ago, when fewer people were able to travel. And so this is a book which you can feel or you can sit in the back seat of your hammock and you can travel. That's what this book is for. Travel.
What was the hardest part of developing this book?
Well,
if there was a hardest part.
The thing is, when I look at one of the more specifics of what I have on my pictures and written down notes, well, I look into the Wikipedia and Google, and that's when I learned so much more. And when you see so many parts within the book that are the side issue, they weren't, no, I wasn't even there, but I had to say what I learned, and It's very interesting to learn. You're either wishing to go there yourself or just read this again. That's all.
I see. Yeah. It's meant to be like a little travel, like a travel trip, in a book.
It truly is. And for the fact that there's such a great
cool.
number of pictures of it, you can feel things that are said.
So, if this book is like a travel narrative, is this book purely nonfiction, or did you write any fictional aspects into it?
Oh, there's no fiction at all. There's strictly, and it need not fiction, because all the great things that I saw and extra tidbits of information that I learned from Wikipedia, that there's no fiction required. There's so much interesting tidbits of information that I could write in the whole encyclopedia. Well, maybe not, if I had enough time.
How did writing this book make you feel? What kind of emotions did it evoke?
Well, it's truly not to go back there, but to have that same intention of going somewhere else and look for as much as I can and take notes and make another, narrative tale of some other place.
Are you pleased with the general outcome of this book, or would you change anything if you were given the chance?
If I had the ability to change it?
Yeah. Are you pleased with the general outcome, or would you change anything if you could?
Oh no, I'm very pleased with it. Very pleased with that.
I've just got one or two more questions for you.
Okay.
Is there anything else that you would like to talk about or mention before we wrap up the interview?
Well, one thing I can say, no matter in your travel or every day, always have a small little, it need not be small, depending if you have a guy has a jacket, he can always put a bigger pocket in one covered pocket. Always keep a notebook. When you see something, write it down. That's all I can say. Good recommendation for that. My late grandfather always had a piece of paper and a pencil. See, the pen, when you turn it outside of the pen, ink falls out. But you always write down, something comes up in the middle of the night or when you woke up, whatever, you always write it down.
Yeah, definitely always helpful to have a pen and paper nearby.
Since he was a judge of the Supreme Court of Canada, you can take his advice. You can take his advice on that kind of thing. He was how about this? How about this for just a side issue tidbit? He was given the title judge of the Supreme Court of Canada. That day, he made a law. Federal judges of any type retire at 75 years old. That was his first national law.
That's not bad.
It is. He was 65 when he took over.
Pretty interesting. Thank you for that little tidbit.
Yeah.
For my final question, I just want to ask, have you ever worked with Authors Press before?
No, but I definitely have you on file for future usage.
Oh,
Thank you. You are on file.
Thank you. We appreciate that. That's all the questions I have for you today. So thank you so much for spending the time to answer all my questions, which was kind of a lot.
The one place that I mentioned, going over the mountain, and the wind is constantly from the Mediterranean, but these high mountains, Atlas Mountains, and there's no rain on the other side of these mountains, and that's when, starting in 1960, they said that was the Hollywood of Morocco, where they didn't have to wait the next day. Is pure pure blue sky, no rain
That's
for
wonderful.
any day. Yeah, there's a large number of movies that are done there. I mean, you get done in 1 week.
That's
It's
pretty
really impressive.
interesting. Yeah, that's all the questions I have for you today. So thank you so much for meeting with me. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to Authors Press either via phone number or email, and we're more than happy to help.
I thank you very much for this time. I feel very honored for it. I'm very lucky and honored.
Thank you for letting me ask all those questions. This has been J. Peter Hall and Nicole Richardson. Thank you so much for listening.